Hello. Please mute your phones and turn your attention to the public safety announcement. In the event of an emergency at NJ Transit, your safety is our top priority. Please follow these important instructions. In case of an emergency, announcements will be made over the loudspeaker or by a uniformed police officer. If necessary, CPR will be administered using the defibrillator. Please do not approach the dais. Documents can be presented to staff at the entrance to the boardroom. Please follow the directions of NJ Transit Police and staff. Thank you, and have a safe day.
Good morning. The March 31st, 2026 Operations and Customer Service Committee meeting will now begin. I will now take roll call. Board Member Cruz.
Good morning.
Good morning. Board Member Beeson.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Board Member McCray. Here. Board Member Nara.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. Board Member Thomas.
Here.
For the record, Board Members Cruz, Beeson, Nara, and Thomas are participating remotely. Next is public comments. There are no in-person speakers, and there's one pre-registered telephone speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Operator, please open the floor to public comments by telephone participants.
Thank you. As a reminder, if you have not already done so, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes for their public comment. A warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining, and again with 15 seconds remaining. And there are 4 public comments in queue. The first public comment is coming from Adam Reich. Adam, your line is live, and your time will now begin.
Good morning. Adam Reich, speaking as always strictly in a personal capacity using personal time. 2 points. First, with quiet commute, there seems to be a recurring issue where the signs will disappear for weeks on end.
Operator, we're not getting good audio.
Stand by. Good audio from from Adam's line.
Correct. It's breaking up.
Adam, apologies if you're on a Bluetooth device or a speakerphone. If you could just go to handset and start again.
Okay, just a moment. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. First of all, speaking again, strictly in a personal capacity using personal time. First of all, a few things. Quiet commute. Often there will be stretches where the signs will disappear on a particular train. Customer service complaints might yield their return, but only for a temporary period, only to see them disappear again. I wanted to know if the agency could take some action on this, like, for example, simply posting placards in every car just to make it easier to point to something about the program. Next, reports are that the agency has temporarily discontinued print timetables. I stress that for certain segments of riders, particularly those in the older demographics, there's something to be said for having a paper timetable. That I would ask New Jersey Transit to reconsider this decision, perhaps reduce the amount you print instead of eliminating it entirely. Further, if you're going to go strictly PDF, please use the existing timetable template. The versions you have on the website lack key information that was present in the print timetables, particularly fare tables, line maps, connecting service information and onboard policies. These should be integrated back into the timetable. Just use the old version as a template. Next, mean distance between failure on rail remains an issue. Equipment reliability hit another low in February. I'm asking the agency and the board to give riders a cohesive plan for improving this and for addressing crew shortages, which drove 38% of cancellations in February. Finally, I want to stress, riders are set to pay a fare increase in July without the benefit of public hearings, even though NJSA 27:25-8D2 specifically speaks to this issue. It requires a fare hearing before any fare increase takes effect. The fare increases are implemented, i.e. take effect every July 1st,
1 minute remaining.
meaning that the law clearly contemplates the board holding a round of fare hearings before it increases fares. I would ask, in particular, Board Member Carson, according to the Governor's Office of Appointments, you represent the rail riders as a rail rider. Please speak to this issue. If you disagree that there should be fare hearings, explain this point. But I stress there is no reasonable way you could tell me what I'm advocating for under this statute is illegal. Clearly, it falls in line with the text of the statute as well as the spirit of it. It defies logic to say that you could raise fares in perpetuity without hearing from riders ever or again. Given the ongoing issues, given the fact that Executive Order 16 is calling for improvements to the ridership experience, fares are undoubtedly part of that experience.
15 seconds.
How much I'm paying dictates the value I'm getting. Fare increases should have public hearings, especially given the law and given the spirit of Executive Order 16. Board, if you're going to do otherwise, at least give us the courtesy of explaining why you disagree with that interpretation, why you do not feel riders should be heard from, even though it would be certainly legal to do so. If the customer advocates could weigh in too, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment will be from Vito Havrilla. Vito, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Hi, I'm Vito Havrilla. I'm the Vice Chair and Legislative Director of the Lackawanna Coalition, and I'll be giving our statement. First, timetable replacements. We've heard your explanation for dropping new timetables the rest of the year, and we are worried. The replacements on the website are incomplete, giving the schedule only. There is no fare information, no instructions for new riders, no non-discrimination policy. A rider's guide would help, especially with FIFA on the horizon, but we are concerned about sudden changes, those without smartphones, people planning when phone assistant is not available, etc. Currently, information is difficult to find on the website, as it's scattered among many pages and results depend on one's skills and searchings. It is inappropriate and is an accessibility disaster. All this information should be easy to find, ideally in one location. It was suggested to us that the MTA's My MTA app, which the MTA created in-house, might be a model for NJT. Having a presentation by Andy Kuzmienko, Deputy Chief of MTA Data and Analytics Team in August 2024. We're impressed by their data sharing and organization, a far cry from what we have seen at NJ Transit. We think it would take a long time for NJT to match their capacity. Next, I'm going to be reading from our budget statement for fiscal year 2027. NJT Finance this year requests the legislature keep the corporate transit fee to help keep NJ Transit's finances afloat. Service improvements, Montclair Bruton Line, hourly weekend service, MSU to Hoboken, North Jersey Coast Line. We ask for restoration of express service, Penn Station to Bayhead, at least seasonally. Capital improvements. We call for the installation or restoration of passing sidings on the Gladstone branch and the Pasco Valley Line to improve bi-directional train service and facilitate reverse peak service. We request that the existing Lyons siding on the Gladstone branch between Millington and Lyons be reactivated, and that the two quote-unquote missing sidings on the Pascagoula Valley line, Golf between Oradell and Emerson, and Park south of Park Ridge, which had been originally proposed by NJ Transit.
1 minute remaining.
About 2005 be installed. We asked the legislature to allocate funds for these operation and capital improvements. Finally, Frank Bowman, caring, patient, and working hard, needs assistance. We found Frank to be accessible, knowledgeable, and communicative, always giving honest assessments of what might be possible, as well as when we are overly optimistic. We admit to being skeptical about the position, but the long search paid off, and we work well with Frank. With such a big system in such disarray, we believe that he could use additional personnel and hope that it is in the budget for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment will be from Nicholas Giglia. Nicholas, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nicholas Giglia. I am the founder and chairman of the group, Restore Transit in Essex. We are a nonprofit, nonpartisan transit advocacy organization focused on an expanded service, enhanced rider experience, and equitable access. So a couple of things. First of all, I want to echo the first two comments that while we understand that the printed timetables are providing an extra expense given all of the changes that are going to be happening with the World Cup, we do understand that there are also considerations for seniors, people with visual impairments, where the printed timetable is provided. We do ask that there is at least an opportunity to receive a printed timetable for somebody who might need one. We think that that would be very, very advantageous. Second thing is just a suggestion for, just a suggestion for the user experience on the website. Unfortunately, we had a family member visiting from out of town this past weekend who ended up in Milburn when she wanted to get to Bay Street in Montclair. Because the site was not clear, unfortunately, unless you clicked in that there was a transfer required. Obviously, those of us who take the system on a regular basis can understand that, but making it clear a little more to anybody that you have to take a transfer if you wanted to do that, I think would be a good enhancement to the site. And aside from that, again, also wanted to echo on the side of the printed timetables, we are looking for making it clear about different transfer points to buses and other train lines within the system. It is something that is very important for accessibility and multimodal use within the system. And then also, again, I want to echo some of the points we made on our speech to the Senate Budget Committee yesterday. First of all, we do believe supporting the hourly weekend service on the Montclair line between Hoboken and MSU. We are asking for a full study to restore service for the former DCAT bus territory, especially because weekend service on the train would not resolve the transit desert for bus-only communities such as Belleville, Verona, and the Caldwells. We also believe in general that we should be looking at service and that no rail corridor on the New Jersey transit system should have headways more than one train per hour, because any less frequency than that will affect ridership and cause people to not want to take it because it is not seen as reliable. So we appreciate everything that Frank and the team are doing. We appreciate the board's engagement, and we look forward to working with you in the coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next public comment will be from Norm Sutaria. Norm, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. This is Norm Sutaria, Bloomfield, New Jersey. I had hoped to be in front of you in person. Unfortunately, that wasn't in the cards this morning, so I needed to pivot to being on the telephone. So, bottom line up front, you know that I spoke at the full board meeting about bus stop 17175. Unfortunately, back on March 23rd, Bloomfield Mayor Jennifer Mundell, Councilwoman Cruz, Gonzalez, Charis Tabares, and Fishman voted on a second ordinance to remove bus stop 17175, which is at the corner of Carroll and Broad Street. Councilwoman Toller Phillips and Councilman Joanno supported keeping that stop until alternative plans were arranged. Here's my big concern, and obviously we all know that the law gives responsibility and really makes it very clear that municipalities are in charge of installing and removing bus stops. I'm asking your help, and I'm not sure whether it's customer service or it's administration, but could New Jersey Transit reach out to Bloomfield and ask why New Jersey Transit's recommendation to move the stop from the northwest corner to the southwest corner was not considered, or that would have been safe for everyone, especially since it's an ADA accessible crosswalk. My biggest concern right now is that riders coming from Newark and riders going to coming from Patterson and going to Newark, vulnerable road users will not have a marked ADA accessible crosswalk to cross east-west across Broad Street. That is deeply concerning, it's deeply troubling, and most importantly, there is no possibility of having a crosswalk installed because NJDOT, my understanding, they prohibit mid-block crosswalks. So is there a way to kind of, yep, thank you so much, for New Jersey Transit to reach out and just ask and really work with the Township of Bloomfield to arrive at a decision, a moving of the bus stop, whatever it takes, to make sure that vulnerable road users are not put at unnecessary, undue risk as when that bus stop is moved. It's going to end in tragedy, and I don't want someone to die. One last note, I just want to thank the team for escalator work at the Newark Light Rail, Newark Penn Station. I saw that this morning, or actually my spouse did, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. Okay. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for your consideration and your time.
Thank you. The next public comment will be from Andy Weiss. Andy, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Good morning. I would like to thank Governor Sherrill for the executive order to clean the buses, trains, and stations. Thank you, Governor Sherrill, and all of the legislators who helped get this executive order signed. The executive order number 16, signed by Governor Sherrill, is very important, and I'm asking the NJ Transit Board and CEO Chris Calori to take her order seriously. No games. NJ Transit riders want accountability and no games from the NJ Transit corporate office. The governor also ordered to fix the real-time bus information that we have been complaining about for years. I want to let the board know that I continue to see filthy NJ Transit buses covered with dirt. I still see it. I saw it this morning, a bus completely filled with dirt. The 88 bus line is really bad. That goes down Kennedy Boulevard. I mean, it's disgusting. These buses are completely filthy. It's just unacceptable how they're leaving the garages like this. Again, and we have told you so many times. I told the CEO, Chris Calori, directly. I've told the customer advocate directly. I've told the board directly. Nothing happens. When is NJ Transit CEO Chris Calori going to visit the bus garages and give them hell? When are you going to do something, Mr. Calori? When are you going to do something? You're in charge. The NJ Transit bus garages need to be held accountable and monitored closely. Who is managing the bus garages, and why are they sending out filthy and unsanitary buses? Did they even hear about the executive order? Did you tell them, Mr. Calori? Did you even say anything? Remaining. Did you say anything, Mr. Calori? Doesn't sound like it. You're terrible. The bus garage managers need to personally inspect and sign off on buses that leave the garages. That's your job, Mr. Calori. You're getting paid a ton of money. Do your job. Every bus needs a cleaning inspection inside and outside before leaving the garages. Why are so many, let me ask you a question, last question. Why are so many board members working remotely? Why are all of these board members having problems arriving in person to board meetings? Board members attending remotely is being abused. The board chair, who's doing a very good job, by the way, needs to stop this and make them attend in person. This is abuse. This is being abused. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment will be from Sally Jane Gellert. Sally, your line is live and your time will now begin.
Thank you. I am speaking today on my own behalf, a personal comment, not representing any organization. In a recent email discussion, it has been noted by at least one individual that New Jersey Transit alerts sometimes come late or in multiple parts, not necessarily in the proper sequence. This can cause confusion, especially when one is out and it's outside the limited phone service hours. We intend to discuss this at the Lackawanna Coalition to try to understand whether it is a common issue related to a particular email or text service or so forth. A second individual noted that after being unintentionally unsubscribed from alerts, re-registering for the alert service was difficult, so he chooses to check the websites for alerts before leaving. Regarding timetables, I understand that it will continue to be possible to get a printed timetable by going to a customer service window or by mail, but that option is not widely known and must be better publicized. In addition, if the stripped-down timetables are going to continue, there needs to be a writer's guide with all the other information from the current printed timetables. As chairperson of the Lackawanna Coalition, I, of course, support the statement read by our vice chairperson and legislative director, Vito Havrilla, including compliments to Frank Bowman, who has been very responsive even as he handles concerns covering such a large system. In general, the comments today have been excellent, and I support them. I would like to invite everyone to our April meeting on April 27th, where we will be hearing from Scott Spencer of Ameristar Rail, and that is at the Summit Public Library and by Zoom. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And there were no other public comments at this time.
Thank you, public speakers. Are there any board member questions or comments? Board Member Beeson?
Yeah, I want to respond to Mr. Weiss first to suggest that we will not follow the governor's executive order is just ridiculous. I don't even know why I'm responding to that. Of course, Mr. Calori and everybody in the administration will follow the governor's orders. That's how the process works. But on a personal note, I would have loved to have been there today, and I really didn't want to speak about this, but my son had surgery. My 17-year-old had surgery, so I'm helping him with his recovery. So, Mr. Weiss, I would have been there. Before you make accusations, you should think about them, because everybody has things going on, and I really didn't appreciate the attacks on the board for not being there in person. The last couple things I just wanted to find out, there was a couple of questions about the printable bus schedules. Yeah, I am assuming that we have a plan for that. Just maybe we can get enlightened at the next full board meeting. And I was just wondering if anybody in the bus operations knows why Bloomfield decided to move that spot. That certainly is a concern raised by one of our riders and Norm, I believe. So any light we can shed on that, any work we can do with Bloomfield would be great. And again, I just want to reiterate that nobody plays games. As I've been here a short time, but every employee of New Jersey Transit works very hard and is very dedicated. And I do not appreciate people calling in who don't go in themselves to talk to us in person, have the nerve to criticize our employees. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any additional board member questions or comments? Chris, did you want to say something?
Board Member Beeson, let me I was going to respond to a couple of questions, and I think it's appropriate on Mr. Sicaria's call on Bloomfield. He was kind enough to show up at the last board meeting to talk about the Bloomfield bus stops, and as promised, and I promised him that we would reach out to Bloomfield and engage in a conversation with the mayor and the council on our advocacy on what I think he was suggesting, which is to either wait till an improvement is made or reconsider. Look, as Norm himself correctly said, the ultimate decision to move or not move the bus stop is solely at the discretion of the municipality. That means, despite whatever conversations we've had, and Mr. Sakaria acknowledges it as well, by the way, through email to me and to my colleagues a week and a half ago or so, that the township now not only bears the burden of the decision, but any liability that follows through it. So I just want to be crystal clear on it. It is not our position, nor did we advocate for moving this, but the township, it's a governing body made up of elected officials. They made a decision. Now they own it. I don't know what else to say about it. So on the issue of printed timetables, I want to be clear. I understand. I really do understand where some of these sentiments are coming. But every train station has a scan code, has timetables, and we will. And I think a couple of really good suggestions were made today on how we can upgrade our app to reflect these timetable changes and in a format that sort of fits what people are used to. But MTA and LIRR got rid of their printed timetables 6 years ago, and SEPTA did the same. We think at some point it isn't just a matter of wasting valuable resources, but it's also not the right thing from an environmental standpoint. So we're trying to accommodate all our customers' need in a platform that is, we think, the most accessible. But I really take to heart some of the suggestions that were made on the website, and we will absolutely consider it. On the budget, I want to reiterate, I'm so glad the callers acknowledge the need at New Jersey Transit, and you should also know that the governor understands it. In fact, it's the first time in my memory where we've gotten a governor's budget proposal that's an 11% increase over last year, because the governor understands our structural deficits happen because either we're underfunded and our cost structures are growing at a pace because of uncontrolled things like geopolitical concerns and also things like tariffs and material supply chain issues. So all these lead to extraordinary cost burdens on the agency, and the fact that the governor understands it and has proposed a budget that is 11% more than last year is a good thing. The last thing I'll say is about mean distance between failure. I get it. This isn't a new subject. This is a subject that is, frankly, burdened this system for well over 30 years. Well, that's what happens when you have rolling stock that's made from the 1970s and 80s. And 60% of our rolling stock is made from 70s and 80s. So we're doing two things to address it. One is we are truly coming up with a parts and inventory management system that addresses our rail rolling stock needs to make sure we fix these train cars on a regularly scheduled interval. But even more important than that, we've already received the first two multi-level cars, and the governor said we're going to receive 40 of those by the end of this year. On the bus side, by the end of this year, we would have gotten 250 brand new buses. So the ultimate solution to solving the mean distance between failure is not to keep repairing equipment that was made in the 70s and 80s, is to replace them with 21st century equipment. That's what we're doing. That is the objective. We started this journey last year. You're seeing evidence of it this year. In fact, on the buses, we're receiving on average about 15 buses, brand new buses a month. That is exactly how we should be improving the system. And we think by sometime late summer, early fall, we'll have brand new multi-level 3s after they go through a commissioning process in service, so we can start to replace some of the old Arrows and eventually Comets. So this is exactly how you build a modern rail system. The governor's committed to it. We're committed to it. In the meantime, we intend to put in place an inventory and management system for parts that begins to address some of the fundamental issues we're having with the current rolling stock. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the staff reports. The first staff report is the Operations and Customer Service Update. Anthony Greco.
Thank you, Megan, and good morning, board members and members of the public joining us today. We'll be presenting the February Operations and Customer Service Committee report this morning. Deanna Sumner from my team, who heads up customer service, will moderate and provide the customer service updates. And the heads from each of the operating divisions will report out on their respective areas. So with that, I'd ask everyone to turn to the next page, and I'll turn it over to Jim Sincaglia, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Rail Operations, to begin with the rail report. Jim?
Thank you, Anthony. We'll start with on-time performance. As you can see from the chart on the left, when factoring in all causes, overall on-time performance was 88.2% in February, down slightly from 89.6% in January. When adjusted to remove the impact of Amtrak-related causes, February on-time performance increases to 91.9%, down from 92.5% in January. You can also note increases in on-time performance for individual rail lines, such as the Northeast Corridor, which improved by 7% from 80.8% to 87.9%. Moving to the next slide.
Jim, can you hold on 1 second on that? Board members and members of the public, I think what Jim talked about is a very, very important it's nuanced, but it is an important point. People often think that we're just shirking responsibility and pushing it on to others when it is really our problem. As long as I've been here and as long as we've been talking about this, I think we're pretty clear about delineating whose problem causes on-time performance issues. Last night is a good example. The Amtrak signal system essentially went down around 5:30 or 6 o'clock. I don't know, as of this morning, whether they still know what's going on. We would have been at 95% on-time performance last night, but for Amtrak's problem. So this is an important, facts matter in these kinds of conversations. So when Jim talks about our frustration in on-time performance, if it's mechanical, if it is crew related, that is ours, we own it. I've always said that. But it is important to understand this nuanced position that Jim is talking about, because 95% is a big departure from where we ended up last night. And that was only singularly because of Amtrak's continued challenges, and we intend to continue talking to them to make sure they fix it, but I wanted to make sure we understand and emphasize this point. Thank you, Jim.
All right, thanks, Chris. This chart provides an added illustration of on-time performance as well as mean distance between failure over time, and includes an on-time performance graph that is adjusted for Amtrak-related impacts. Mean distance between failure was 46,803 miles in February, down from 47,073 miles in January. Moving to the next slide. In February, there were 598 total cancellations, representing 3.8% of the 15,784 total trips, an increase of 55% from 384 cancellations in January. There were 120 cancellations due to mechanical causes. Approximately 15% of cancellations were due to unpreventable causes, with a majority related to the generational winter storm. There were 124 cancellations, just under 21% of all cancellations, due to Amtrak-related causes. We also saw an increase in cancellations due to crew engineer availability, largely attributed to the portal cutover schedule change. Moving to the next slide. Moving to February rail performance by terminal and time, New York Penn Station trains reported overall on-time performance of 80.8 in February, down from 85.6 in January. Hoboken Terminal trains reported overall on-time performance of 94.7%, up from 93.5 in January. System-wide peak period on-time performance was 84.6% in February, down from 85%. Off-peak on-time performance was 90%, down from 90.1%. And weekend on-time performance was 88.5%, down from 94.5% in January. Moving to the next slide. Trip annulled canceled. For February, trip cancellations and annulments were primarily related to service on the Newark Division. On February 9th, due to Amtrak overhead wire issues near Newark, New Jersey Transit rail service was suspended on the Northeast Corridor between Penn Station, New York, and Trenton, and on the North Jersey coastline between Penn Station, New York, and Woodbridge. On February 18th, Raritan Valley Line service was suspended in both directions between White House and Highbridge Station due to a trespasser strike near Lebanon Station. And as mentioned earlier, the winter storm and the crew engineer availability were also contributing factors, and the actions taken are noted at the bottom of the slide. For trip delayed, in addition to storm-related delays, on February 7th, the Morrison-Essex line experienced delays due to downed trees in the overhead wires near Maplewood, causing single tracking in both directions. On February 9th, Amtrak overhead wire issues caused delays on the Northeast Corridor and Morrison-Essex line in and out of Penn Station, New York. On February 19th, Morrison-Essex line and Gladstone rail service was delayed in both directions between Millburn and Morristown due to downed trees and the overhead wires near Summit. Actions taken are noted at the bottom of the slide. Moving to the next slide, I'll turn it over to Deanna.
Thank you, Jim. On March 12th, New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill, New Jersey Transit President and CEO Chris Kalari, and Amtrak celebrated a major milestone by riding a ceremonial train over the new Portal North Bridge between Newark and Secaucus, which had one track officially begin passenger service on Monday, March 16th. The cutover project, led by Amtrak, was completed on time within 4 weeks as planned. We thank our customers for their patience and understanding during those 4 weeks of important and incredibly complex work. The second and final track cutover to the new bridge is expected to happen in the fall, providing significantly improved reliability and ultimately additional capacity for the approximately 200,000 New Jersey Transit and Amtrak customers who travel over the bridge every weekday for generations to come. Moving to the next slide. This month, we posted on social media regarding a milestone on our window replacement project. To date, New Jersey Transit has now replaced windows on 188 multi-level rail cars, which is 50% of the current fleet. We also posted a video explaining the portal cutover process and travel options for customers during the work. Moving to the next slide, I will turn it over to Lance Norman for the bus report.
Thank you, Deanna. Looking at the bus charts, overall on-time performance in February was down 89.6% from 91.7% in January, just shy of our goal of 90%. On-time performance for our major terminals in February was as follows. Port Authority Bus Terminals on-time performance decreased from 89.5% in February compared to 91.2% in January. Hoboken Terminals on-time performance decreased from 85.7% from 88.2%. Atlantic City on-time performance was unchanged at 97.8%. Newark Penn Station on-time performance decreased to 88.7% in February compared to 93.2% in January. Walter Rand Transportation Center on-time performance decreased slightly to 90.5% from 91.2% in January. Irvington Bus Terminals on-time performance decreased to 83.1% from 89.9% in January. Moving to the next slide. In February, feedback was related to heavy traffic, a major snowstorm, detours, road closures, road constructions, accidents, and mechanical issues which impacted service in all bus divisions. Impacts to service in and out of Port Authority Bus Terminal. On the 2nd, 2 disabled vehicles resulted in 1 lane remaining open inbound to the Lincoln Tunnel, while an accident on the inbound helix caused delays up to 30 minutes. On the 3rd, heavy traffic on the New Jersey Turnpike at exit 16 and an accident on Garden State Parkway North led to delays. On the 9th, there were delays of up to 35 minutes due to the closure of the Port Authority Bus Terminal entrance ramp for new terminal construction. On the 17th, cross-honoring on the first day of the Portal Bridge cutover, along with additional bus service from Academy on the 126 line, caused delays. From the 22nd to the 24th, snowstorm and adverse weather conditions resulted in delays. Service impacts in and out of Newark Penn Station, including roadway incidents, road closures affecting multiple lines, as well as snow and weather conditions. Actions taken are noted on the slide. Trip no-show feedback was primarily related to operator availability. Again, actions taken are noted at the bottom of the slide. Before I turn it back over to Deanna, I'm pleased to share that in just 1 week, on April 6, NJ Transit will launch MicroLink, our new on-demand microtransit pilot in select communities of Bergen and Monmouth counties. In partnership with VIA, MicroLink provides free first and last mile connections to NJ Transit bus stops and park and ride locations, improving commuter convenience, accessibility, and the overall customer experience. This 2-year pilot reflects our commitment to modernizing service delivery, improving the customer experience, and expanding access to transit in new ways. With federal funding supporting the launch, this initiative also aligns with Governor Sherrill's recent executive order, underscoring NJ Transit's commitment to modernizing and improving access to public transit. More information on this initiative is available at njtransit.com/microlink. Now, moving to the next slide, I'll turn it back over to Deanna.
Thank you, Lance. New Jersey Transit is currently piloting new high-tech solar-powered bus stop signs equipped with digital screens that include features such as real-time customer information, such as arrivals, detours, delays, service alerts, and bus occupancy levels. The pilot is testing technology from 2 different companies through a partnership with Transit Tech Lab, a program established by agencies in New York, New Jersey metropolitan region to bring private sector innovation to public transit by connecting tech companies with transit agencies to pilot new technologies and solve critical transit challenges. The signs are being tested at 8 bus stops in Hudson and Monmouth counties with the goal of improving the digital experience and enhancing access to information for our customers, which is also aligned with the governor's recent Executive Order Number 16. The pilot is being conducted at no cost to New Jersey Transit, and the performance of the signs will be assessed for consideration of possible expansion. We also published a post highlighting that we're continuing to actively recruit bus operators, encouraging qualified candidates to join our team and help keep New Jersey moving. The post outlines the benefits, training opportunities, and career growth available while directing interested applicants to apply online. Moving to the next slide, I will turn it over to Greg Woods for the light rail report.
Thank you. Thank you, Deanna. Overall, light rail on-time performance was 93.9% in February, up from 88.4% in January. In January. By line, on-time performance for February. Hudson Bergen light rail on-time performance was 93.4% in February, up from 93% in January. Newark light rail on-time performance was 99.5 in February, up from 99.2 in January. Riverline on-time performance was 88.9, up from 72.9 in January. Light rail equipment reliability measured as mean distance between failure, or MDBF, is as follows. Newark light rail MDBF was up 4,728 miles compared to 4,446 miles in January. Riverline MDBF was also up 2,819 miles compared to 2,724 miles. Hudson Bergen light rail MDBF was down slightly to 11,222 miles from 11,426 miles. Moving to the next slide. Facility station condition feedback centered around the elevators and escalators at Newark Penn Station on the Newark Light Rail and elevators along the Hudson Bergen Light Rail system. For the Newark Light Rail, materials are currently being sourced for escalators as they should be fully functional by this summer. Regarding HBLR, the contract operator at HBLR has hired a new elevator subcontractor to manage the elevator maintenance process to improve response time and work to identify and address capital improvements that are necessary to maintain reliability moving forward. Trip delayed feedback was primarily regarding trip delays on the Hudson Bergen Light Rail due to signal and switch problems. On February 4th, switch issues caused delays at the Bayonne and Westside branches of the HBLR. On February 5th and 6th, switch failures near the Liberty State Park Station forced single tracking and delays. Actions are noted at the bottom of the slide. And as we look at the bottom of the slide, I turn it back over to Deanna.
Thank you, Greg. This month, on social media, we posted to alert customers about boarding changes along the North Light Rail. We also issued posts about boarding changes and schedule adjustments occurring on the Hudson Bergen Light Rail due to track work. On February 14th, New Jersey Transit assumed direct control of Riverline operations and maintenance. To provide some context of performance since New Jersey Transit took over on February 14th, in January 2026, under the previous contractor, on-time performance was 72.9%. From February 1st through February 13th, under the old contractor, on-time performance was 85.6%. Under New Jersey Transit oversight, from February 14th through February 28th, on-time performance rose to 91.9%. And from March 1st through yesterday, March 30th, on-time performance was 93%. These early results are extremely encouraging and reflect the dedication of the Riverline operations team and reinforce New Jersey Transit's ongoing commitment to improving the customer experience. Moving to the next slide, I will turn it over to Namika Parker for the Access Link report.
Thank you, Deanna. Access Link on-time performance was 92.4% in February, down from 95.5% in January. We served 119,419 total riders in February. The total number of customer service cases for February was 86. The top issues generating feedback were service delays with 42 and employee performance with 13. We received 151 commendations for the month of February, with 78 of them for our Access Link Operations Center staff An example of a commendation we received includes C. Clark. Client or customer called to commend reservationist Ashley Frazier for doing an amazing job when booking his upcoming rides. He stated she was having technical issues, but was able to push through and book 3 upcoming rides for him. He also stated she was patient when confirming everything as well. I think it's important to note that we received almost twice the number of commendations from customers than we did for customer service cases, which is a testament to our strong commitment to our AccessLink customer experience. Moving to the next slide. Service delays. While comments were equally spread in this area, the highest number of comments were from customers who experienced late arriving vehicles. Most of the delays were attributed to operators encountering increased traffic and staffing concerns. Actions taken are noted on the slide. Employee performance. Most of the feedback related to telephone interactions between agents and customers. All feedback was forwarded to the agent's respective department for appropriate corrective actions. Again, actions taken are noted at the bottom of the slide. Moving to the next slide. In February, we posted to remind customers that payment can be conveniently made with Easy Wallet, an easy way for customers to pay their AccessLink fares. We also shared a post to remind customers to ensure their mobility devices are in good working order and to charge any power devices before boarding to make their AccessLink experience as seamless as possible. Moving to the next slide, I will turn it back over to Deanna.
Thank you, Namika. Customer service received 32,622 calls in February. The 13-month rolling average was 38,064 calls. The average speed of answer for the Transit Information Center was 15 seconds, surpassing our goal of 30 seconds. The agents answered 96% of the calls in February, slightly below our goal of 99%. Moving to the next slide. New Jersey Transit received 131 commendations system-wide for February. I will read one to highlight the positive impact our staff has on the individual customer experience. In this case, a rail customer affected by the Portal Bridge cutover work. I anticipated a busy and somewhat complex commute given the high volume of passengers. Instead, I was pleasantly surprised by how clearly New Jersey Transit communicated with riders in real time. Representatives on the platform provided direct, calm, and methodical instructions without overwhelming me. My commute to and from North Broad Street via Hoboken was seamless, even with the adjusted schedules. I wanted to let New Jersey Transit know that their staff did a truly excellent job, and I sincerely commend the team for their professionalism and organization. Moving to the next slide. On this page, we'll review social media reach and engagement. In February, New Jersey Transit social media messages were seen over 10 million times, generating over 400,000 engagements and more than 42,000 visits to njtransit.com. During the month of February, the social media team sent 7,273 messages. This number represents a combination of informational posts and responses to customer inquiries. Moving to the next slide. Our New Jersey Transit Police Department continues to keep customers informed about activities through its social media presence. The New Jersey Transit Police Department issued posts about their participation at a law enforcement recruitment fair held at Keene University earlier this month. Additionally, NJTPD posted to remind customers that New Jersey Transit Police operate around the clock in every condition, rain, snow, or extreme cold. That same commitment carries into our training. Even during some of the harshest temperatures this winter, our officers were outside actively refining their skills to ensure they remain ready to respond whenever and wherever they're needed. Now I would like to turn it over to Chief Trissillo for an update on NJTPD initiatives.
Thank you, Deanna. I'd like to report out for the period of March 1st through March 29th. Our outreach officers made contact with 609 at-risk individuals at our facilities across the state. Happy to report that 199 people accepted services from our social service providers. We also participate with the Attorney General in their mental health program, Arrive Together. In Essex County, we encountered 26 individuals and 2 individuals voluntarily took service. In Camden, we encountered 2 individuals and both of those individuals voluntarily accepted service. Our Narcan deployments for the month Officers deployed Narcan 12 times. I'm happy to report we had 12 saves, and year-to-date, we've deployed Narcan 46 times across the state. We also know that smoking continues to be a concern of our customers, and our officers enforce it aggressively. In the month of March, we issued 191 summonses for smoking. Year-to-date, we've issued 565 summonses for smoking. And just something I'd like to note, during the month of March, public service is not always easy. And during the month, we had 5 assaults on bus operators. We had 1 assault on a rail crew member, and we've had 5 assaults on police officers. And that's my report, Deanna.
Thank you, Chief. Moving to the next slide. And we'll close with a slide that illustrates the press releases we issued during the month. And Megan, that concludes the Operations and Customer Service report.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on to the next staff report, the Customer Advocate Update. Frank Bowman.
Thank you, Megan. Good morning, everyone. I would like to start the report with a list of concerns topics I collected in February via the Customer Advocate form online. And I just wanted to highlight a few of them. There has been, for example, renewed interest in the 3 new bus project, which is the comprehensive plan to reimagine the local bus network serving Hudson County, Newark, and Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. I'd like to take this opportunity to share the update provided by the capital planning team that the service recommendations continue to be evaluated to ensure they align with current needs and available resources. I continue to receive a high volume of related to service on the corridor, with an even greater concentration on the North Jersey coastline. As you'll notice when we reviewed the metrics for last month, overall performance was significantly affected by the Portal Bridge cutover, which was anticipated. Interestingly, despite a few early month comments about overcrowding on the Morris and Essex line, feedback for the other lines remained relatively stable throughout the same period. Finally, the installation of the new real-time departure sign on the HBLR is still underway, but the partially activated system has caused some confusion among customers, particularly at locations where the signs are not yet turned on, leading customers to believe they were malfunctioning. It's not the case. These was especially inconvenient during the recent weekends of planned service disruptions, but the light rail team is looking to improve communication at the affected stop, at least until the new LEDs are fully in service. Next slide, please. I would also like to talk about the social media comments collected in February. There has been some discussion about the temporary suspension of printed rail timetables. And although I did not receive any concerns myself, and as many customers acknowledge they don't rely on the paper timetables anymore, some have suggested creating a rider's guide so that the additional information previously found on the printed schedule, such as the fares and policies, remain available in paper format. I also wanted to remind customers that paper copies are still available upon request at customer service offices for anyone who needs them. I also received some positive feedback from customers who have begun using the Wi-Fi service on the new buses. And finally, although the issue has been raised before, missed connection between New York-bound trains and Raritan Valley Line trains at Newark generated a notable amount of customer feedback during the Portal Bridge cutover. I witnessed the impact firsthand while assisting customers during the evening rush on March 10, where many expressed confusion and frustration, the lack of reliable connection opportunities. This is being reviewed with the rail team as well. Next slide, please. I will now go through the breakdown of customer concerns per mode for February, starting with rail. As expected, the number of concerns per 10,000 passengers increased by nearly 30%. However, as shown in the first and third graphic, a significant portion of these rises is directly tied to Amtrak-related disruptions, particularly the Portal Bridge cutover. All lines experienced some level of impact from this major work, with the most notable increases occurring on the lines most closely tied to New York-bound service, the North Jersey coastline more specifically. In contrast, the midday bus diversion on the Atlantic City line, which concluded at the same time as the cutover, did not appear to influence concerns volumes. Beyond service-related issues, we also observe an uptick in station cleanliness and condition concerns. Passenger information concerns remain stable, while app-related issues continue to decline. Next slide, please. For light rail, concern per 10,000 passengers increased by approximately 6% between January and February. Both the Hudson Bergen Light Rail and Newark Light Rail experienced an uptick in concerns relative to ridership. However, it is worth highlighting that the River Line saw its concerns ratio drop by more than 50%, driven largely by improved on-time performance since NJ Transit started to assume operation. Additionally, despite another snowstorm, station cleanliness and condition concerns returned to their typical annual levels. And as noted earlier, concerns related to passenger information during service disruptions remain pretty high. Next slide, please. For bus operation, concerns per 10,000 passengers decreased slightly, but remain above the annual target, driven primarily by a reduction in concerns within the Northern Division. Despite improved on-time performance at New Jersey's major terminals, service-related concerns rose modestly. Overcrowding levels remain steady even with the Porterbridge cutover and the anticipated increase in ridership. Meanwhile, the bus condition concern declined by more than 35% compared to January, despite winter weather-related challenges. Next slide, please. For Access Link, in February, the number of concerns per rider rose above the annual target. All regions experienced an increase in concerns per passengers, with Region 3 showing the most significant uptick, while Region 6 remained pretty much stable. Service-related concern increased from January and were above the 12-month average for the month. Concerns related to NJ Transit employee performance and service monitoring also rose, but so did the number of commendations. Additionally, reports related to vehicle condition and cleanliness declined significantly, which is good news. Next slide, please. On Wednesday, February 28, I hosted a listening forum at Long Branch Station. This forum provided a valuable opportunity to speak directly with the North Jersey coastline customers affected by the Porterbridge cutover, and we had meaningful conversation with customers on bus route 831 and 837. I am grateful to the operation team members and to Board Member Beeson for attending this forum. I think customers all appreciated that. And I listed the key topics that emerged from these discussions. We got concerns for frequent delays on the North Jersey coastline, like I mentioned. We got recurring bus cancellation due to operator shortages on both route 831 and 837. But the good news is that the bus team has successfully hired 2 additional operators who are currently being trained. Once fully onboarded, they will provide much-needed support in addressing the manpower challenges in the Long Branch area. We got a lack of timely communication concerns when delays and cancellation occur, and as you know, this is a work in progress. We got requests for additional weekend service and more express service overall. We also got confusion for people connecting at Long Branch for both inbound and outbound service. And it's true that Long Branch is a unique station where many customers must deboard to transfer to another train for continued inbound or outbound service. During recent delays, the transfer process created noticeable confusion. And I'm currently working with the facilities signage team and the IT team to explore whether improved track identification signage and updated departure vision screens could help reduce this confusion for customers. In the meantime, the engineering department is also taking steps to protect the ramp to the station's only accessible entrance, which has frequently been blocked by cars parking tight in front of it. And I know Transit Police is also looking into it. That's my last slide. However, I wanted to mention that in support of Governor Sherrill's Executive Order number 16, which was signed on March 24, I'm hosting 3 virtual forums. The first one will begin tonight at 6 p.m. The second one will be Thursday, April 2nd, yes, at 6 p.m. as well. And the last one will be Saturday, April 4th at 9 a.m. I also released a short online survey, thanks to Susan here, that customer can fill until Monday, April 6th. For all additional information, and as I strongly suggest customers to share their feedback via the survey as well, they can visit njtransit.com/action plan. But that's all for me today. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Board Member Nara?
So, Frank, I just wanted to, if you went over it and I missed it. So in terms of light rail, and I understand there's this huge significant drop on the River Line, which is awesome, since we've taken it over. But there was an uptick of concerns that was kind of significant overall with light rail. Even if you took out, I'm assuming that's if you take out the River Line.
That is
was there-
correct. That is correct. Yes.
Okay. And were there any specific issues there?
So there's service-related concerns, but also passenger information concerns, right? Another topic that I mentioned before, it is being addressed. So there's a lot of efforts being done in terms of communication between operation on the HBLR side and the communication team on NJ Transit. But it's also because the new contractor resumed weekend works. There's a lot of ongoing track works being done on weekends. And because this is being done, there's a lot of service changes, including schedule changes. And it's sometimes a little challenging to communicate with customers without the LED sign being fully operational at this point. This is a work in progress. And in the meantime, we're looking at having better communication for these specific disruptions.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are there any additional board member questions or comments? Okay, next is the cost of service update. Jacqueline Stanford.
Thank you, Megan. This slide presents key performance indicators related to our cost of service, specifically farebox revenue per passenger, subsidy per passenger, cost per passenger, total cost of service, and farebox recovery rates. In February, across all modes and on an average per passenger basis, we recognize revenues of approximately $4.22 on costs of $17.02 for a recovery ratio of 25%. Per passenger subsidies of between $5.98 and $16.25 were required for bus and rail. Light rail required 38 cents in subsidy due to a $9 million credit for inventory previously purchased under the Riverline contract. Farebox recovery ratios were 33% for bus, 31% for rail, and 56% for light rail, reflecting the Riverline credit. Access Links recovery was 2%. Was 2%. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Board members, any questions or comments? Okay, the last staff report is the customer satisfaction survey results. Susan?
I know we're at time. We have another meeting started, so I'm going to try and go through this quickly and give the highlights. Just for our new, go to the next slide, for our new board members, a little background on the survey. It covers all 4 modes. We ask customers to rate their satisfaction on a scale of 0 to 10 and to identify their most important service traits. The next slide. The most recent survey was done in December. We got about 27,000 surveys, and it included the standard customer satisfaction questions and other questions. Next slide. So the next 3 slides, I'm going to go through slide 4. I'm going to go through really quickly. These were questions that we asked customers who commute and use New Jersey Transit for work. And basically, things stayed the same in terms of the days of the week that people travel. And on the next slide, similar days, average number of days people commute to work, although it's important to note that the survey was done in December, so the holiday changes that people make to their travel are impacted in that data. On the next slide, page 6, this one shows companies' worksite policies, so people traveling for work, what their worksite policy is, and full-time in the office increased for all modes and markets since the previous Spring 25 survey. Page 7. Overall satisfaction increased from 6.3 to 6.6, and likelihood to recommend increased from 76% to 80% system-wide. Moving on to the bus system on slide 8, bus system satisfaction also increased 6.5 to 6.7, and likelihood to recommend increased too. Moving on to the markets, you see the trend continuing here with the markets showing increases in all the markets. On to slide 10. This slide looks at what's most important, and the top 10 have stayed the same, although cleanliness declined. And it shows, the bars show the percent of customers that gave a satisfied score for that attribute. And you can see most customers are satisfied. Moving on to the final slide on bus. We have 3 open-ended questions about things that people would like to see improved, things they liked and encourage. More than half the respondents answered at least one of these questions. And improve, we're looking for more reliable on-time service. Things they liked was friendly operators and having a seat. And similar to improvements, the encourage comments were similar to improvements. Again, the market slides on page 12. Similar trends. Cleanliness fell down in most important or fell off the list for some of the markets. Now I'm going to turn it over to Lance to talk about the bus score context.
Thank you, Susan. The uptick in scores for bus overall and across all markets can be attributed in part.
Oh, next slide. Oh, sorry. Put your mic, yeah.
I'll start all over. The uptick in scores for bus overall and across our markets can be attributed in part to our ongoing efforts related to service and fleet improvements. On the scheduling side, we added 214 weekday trips between summer and fall 2025 for an additional capacity on 40 different bus routes. That includes 61 Saturday trips added and 57 Sunday trips added. We also made runtime adjustments to 37 routes to improve on-time performance. The number 86 line went back to its former streamlined routing at the request of Jersey City customers to provide quicker access to Exchange Place. Also in Jersey City, we split the number 6 line and added the number 16 routing in July, serving the senior citizen leg of the old number 86 route. In September 2025, we extended line number 608 trips to Capitol Health in response to customer request. We also extended number 832 service to Brookdale College at the request of the campus. During the same time period, we adjusted select number 552 trips to serve Cape May County Airport. We also added 20-minute midday service to the number 119 line on weekdays. And in response to customer requests, we extended select number 137 trips to Brick Park and Ride. Regarding bus onboard conditions, we are continuing work on the midlife rehabilitation of 200 of our 2012 to 2013 NAVI model year buses, with 47 buses completed to date. As noted during the last presentation, this effort was temporarily delayed as a result of absorbing service previously operated by private carriers and having to upgrade those buses as they became part of our fleet. As part of the midlife upgrades, the engines and transmissions are being replaced and new seating is being installed, which will help improve service reliability and customer comfort. Under the topic of seating availability, there are now 170 articulated buses in service, which are helping to increase capacity for customers, with another 408 buses ordered. We are continuing to strategically use these high-capacity articulated buses on heavy ridership routes to ensure more seating availability for customers. And now I'll turn it back to Susan.
Thanks, Lance. We're going to skip ahead to the rail system. Seeing the same trend of increase in satisfaction, rail system went from 5.6 to 6.1 and 69 to 76% likelihood to recommend. On the next two slides, 16 and 17, you see the same trend existing in all the markets with increased scores since the spring. Moving on from page 17 to page 18, the top 10 of most important attributes remain the same, but you can see in all 10, the percent of customers that gave a satisfied score increased. Moving on to page 19, areas where the comments were in improve, on-time performance and cleanliness were the top comments. In liked, conductor friendliness, so employees, and on-time performance was something that a good contingent of customers liked. So they had a good trip. And encourage, about half the comments related to cost and discounts and schedules. Moving on to the market slides. Similarly, you're seeing that nearly all the attributes are seeing an increase in the percent of respondents that gave an acceptable score. And cleanliness dropped out of the top 10 for Raritan Valley and Morrison, Essex. On slide 21, handling of service disruptions is new at number 8 for Montclair Booton. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jimmy to talk about the rail score context.
Yeah, thanks, Susan. For rail service, we've implemented de-escalation training for our train crews. We launched a revenue collection initiative at stations. And then we had several complex schedule changes to support the Gateway program and Portal North Bridge. On the mechanical side, we've accelerated the multi-level window replacement project. We accelerated rail car repairs and locomotive overhauls to improve reliability. And we focus support departments on supply chain issues to increase availability of critical parts. On the engineering side, we've expanded the station care initiative at Newark Penn and Transit Center. We've partnered with the customer advocate to make targeted station improvements across the system, and we've upgraded the signal system across multiple lines. And then for support projects, we graduated 7 locomotive engineers and 94 assistant conductors, and we provided emergency preparedness training to 1,685 first responders. Back to Susan.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. Slide 24, the light rail system increased from 6.5 to 7.0 satisfaction and from 77 to 84% satisfied. On page 25, you see similar increases for each of the light rail lines. On 26, the most notable thing on this slide is the River Line. There's been some very good increases in the percent of customers giving a satisfactory score for AM peak schedule, on-time performance at boarding station, and handling of service disruptions. On slide 27, seating availability moved to one of the top 5 areas, moving security off the top 5 for improve, and schedule fell off the top 5 in the light comments. Now I'm going to turn it over to Greg to talk about light rail.
Thank you, Susan. On the light rail side, we'll start with Hudson Bergen. The significant increase in overall satisfaction may be attributed to an increase in the consistency of train service, as well as an overall uptick in satisfaction with on-time performance. A slight decrease in satisfaction with weekday peak hour schedules can be mostly attributed to the transition of contract operations from one company to another, which resulted in personnel shortages that had significant impacts to service during a brief period prior to the date that the contract changed hands from 21st Century Rail to ACI Herzog joint venture. While weekend service satisfaction has increased, in response to numerous comments from customers on prior surveys, we have commissioned a study to assess weekend service levels to determine both customer and cost impacts of increasing weekend service levels. Regarding the communication of train cancellations and arrival times, HBLR is in the process of installing variable message signboards at all stations that will provide estimates of when trains are due to arrive. There are 7 stations remaining for installations: 8th Street, 22nd, Richard, Garfield, Lincoln Harbor, Port Imperial, and Tunnelly. Newark Light Rail, the slight increase in overall satisfaction for Newark Light Rail may be attributed in part to ongoing efforts by operators to adhere to stricter guidelines and using their assigned trip paddles to reduce early departures. Scores related to cleanliness and safety have increased due to more concentrated cleaning efforts that ensure the stations are frequently powered, washed, as well as implementation of mid-run trash inspections on light rail vehicles. Maintenance updates at stations include repairs to station stairs, concrete, and railings have also enhanced customer satisfaction. Now, the River Line, the significant increase in overall customer satisfaction may be attributed to the public announcement in September of 2025 that the O&M responsibilities for River Line will be transitioned from the private sector contractor to NJ Transit, culminating with the full assumption of O&M service delivery by New Jersey Transit on Saturday, February 14th. From the spring of 25 to fall of 25, the River Line improved vehicle maintenance significantly, which led to fewer train cancellations and more reliable service. When service disruption do occur, River Line has improved communications by providing alerts as quickly as possible to keep customers informed. Regarding cleanliness and maintenance at stations, any issues are being addressed quickly through routine cleaning crews, which is helping to bolster scores among those attributes. Now back to you, Susan.
Thanks, Greg. Moving on to Access Link, the overall satisfaction score is 7.9, and the likelihood to recommend increased to 88%. On page 32, 4 of the top 10 attributes, or over 90% of the customers gave a satisfactory score, and for all 10 attributes, more than 80% gave a satisfactory score. On to the next page. Schedule is new to the top 5 comments for things to improve. Nearly 2/3 of the customers liked employees, and I'll turn it over to Namika to talk about Access Link.
Thank you, Susan. Access Link continues our strong focus on initiatives such as the Rider's Choice Pilot. Customers having a choice empowers the riders, the ability to select the travel options that best fit their schedule and needs. During this survey period, the Rider's Choice Pilot handled 155,000 trips with our partnerships with Uber, Lyft, and Via, and Userve. Access Link continues to implement a number of innovative self-help tools. So the virtual assistant continues to support customers with high technology but low usage ability needed. They just simply need to call with their telephone. The Access Link fleet has also grown to about 650 vehicles, including now sedans, minivans, cutaway buses, and that allows for more direct routing, less sharing, shorter trip durations, more reliable schedules, and customers have also benefited from increased staffing across operations, including additional call center representatives, enhanced supervisory coverage, and more vehicle operators. Let's see. Our Access Link local pilot, which is the result of the Paratransit Improvement Act of 2020, is available now in Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties, and has provided more than 38,000 rides for customers with Access Link subscriptions. Our outreach and education, we continue to provide meaningful opportunities for customers to communicate with Access Link leadership, decision makers, fostering transparency, trust, and collaborations. Our efforts included virtual and in-person engagement events, one-on-one customer support, targeted education campaigns. The virtual and in-person customer engagement is central to how Access Link ensures that customers' voices directly inform decisions, policies, service improvements, which in turn helps to drive overall customer satisfaction. And with that, I'll turn it over to Susan.
Thanks, Tamika. Wrapping up, the overall satisfaction score is 6.6. 80% of customers would recommend us, and the full set of scores will be shared on our website later today.
Thank you. Board members, are there any questions or comments? Okay, that concludes the agenda for the Operations and Customer Service Committee. The Administration Committee meeting will begin as soon as we can transition to the next meeting. Thank you for your participation. You may disconnect.
Thank you.
Yeah, help write the whole thing.
Wait a minute. Morocco, can you let Megan know I'll be right back? I'm going to step away for a minute, okay? Thank you.
What? No, it's.
Okay. Good morning. The March 31st, 2026 Administration Committee meeting will now begin. I will now take roll call. Board Member Morocco? Oh, I'm not. Board Member Morocco, I think you're muted. Okay, I see Board Member Morocco. Board Member Casimir? I'm not hearing anything. Are the board members able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, Megan, we can hear.
Okay, Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Casimir?
Yes.
Board Member McCray? Vice Chair Carson?
Yes.
Board Member Thomas? I believe she just stepped away. She's there. And Board Member Zeveloff?
Yes.
Okay. For the record, Vice Chair Carson and Board Members Morocco, Casimir, Thomas, and Zeveloff are participating remotely. Next is public comments. There's no in-person speakers and no pre-registered telephone speakers. Operator, please open the floor to public comments by telephone participants.
Certainly. As a reminder, if you have not already done so, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes for their public comment. A warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining, and again with 15 seconds remaining. Once again, it's star 1 if you wish to enter the public comment queue. And there were no public comments at this time.
Thank you. Next is the financial update. Jacqueline Stanford.
Thank you, Megan. Today I'm presenting New Jersey Transit's financial report representing the 8th period of fiscal year 2026. Additional information related to key performance indicators, vacancy trends, revenue and ridership, and profit and loss details not presented can be found in the appendix to this presentation. Page 1 of the report shows a summary of fiscal year-to-date operating results as of February. New Jersey Transit saw a net loss from operations of $103.6 million and realized $4.9 million net positive reimbursable project revenue for a total net income of negative $98.7 million. This compares to last year when we reported a $588.3 million loss from operations, drew $749.4 million of federal COVID-19 relief funding, and had a $1.5 million net negative reimbursable project revenue for a total net income of $159.6 million. Compared to budget, total operating revenues were unfavorable by $21.3 million, or 1.1%. Looking at revenues by category, Farebox revenue in February was $616.6 million, which was $29.7 million, or 4.6% less than budget, but $34.2 million, or 5.9% more than February of last year. Commercial revenue from various sources totaled $92.9 million in February, or $17.9 million less than budgeted due to the delay in receipt of property sales. State operating assistance was $624.4 million in February, reflecting receipt of assistance scheduled to total $832.2 million in fiscal year 26. Funding from the New Jersey Turnpike Authority was $313.3 million, reflecting the monthly receipt of assistance scheduled to total $470 million in fiscal year 26. Lastly, other grants and assistance, consisting primarily of federal funding for preventive maintenance as well as clean energy funding, totaled $337.4 million, or $43.1 million less than budget, partially due to the timing of receipts. On the expense side, year-to-date total operating expenses were $82.3 million, or roughly 4.1% more than budget. This is largely due to continuing low percentage of vacant positions, as well as the increased cost of materials and supplies. Revenue expenditures together resulted in net income from operations that was $103.6 million unfavorable to budget. On page 3 is a view of Farebox revenues by mode over the last 12 months. The dashed line at the top of each graph is the budgeted revenue, while the solid line represents the actual revenue since March of 2025. Revenues through April followed budget trend, but lagged in May and June. Revenues returned to 101.1% of budget in July and were 85% of budget in February, reflecting significant cold and snow in that month. Rail and bus revenues were 82% and 88% of budget, with rail at 6% less and bus at 2% less than February of 2025. Page 4 highlights select major balance sheet items. New Jersey Transit's operating Cash balance on February 28th was $66.2 million. There was a $210 million balance on our credit facility, and we had a long-term debt balance of $1.7 billion. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any board member questions or comments? Okay, next is the Human Resources Update. Savita Lockman.
Thank you, Megan. Good morning, board members, and good morning, members of the public and my fellow colleagues. I am Savita Lockman, Deputy Chief, Human Resource Department. But before reviewing the hiring numbers for the month of January and February, I want to highlight a few of our department's recent initiatives. Police recruiting. All scheduled Police Academy classes have been successfully staffed, and more than 50 officers hired as the department prepares for FIFA 2026. Upon graduation, these recruits will be deployed to support FIFA-related operations. Looking ahead, NJTPD will continue strengthening its recruitment pipeline through active participation in spring 2026 job fairs, focusing on attracting candidates to meet future hiring needs and offset anticipated workforce attrition over the next 1 to 2 years. For the candidate outreach team, our outreach team is strengthening recruitment pipelines through partnership with the Department of Labor, military, and other organizations, targeting 21 hard-to-fill roles in January and 17 in February across service, transit, and rail operations. A Work the Best virtual session held in February 18th, and 303 attendees with 97% rating it positively. Outreach also participated in the South Plainfield Advisory Board, providing guidance on recruitment, enrollment, and career services for the new electrical program. In addition, Outreach supported Department of Labor rapid response efforts by monitoring potential layoffs, coordinating with DOL contracts, sharing job opportunities, and connecting affected workers to resources and support. For our internship team, the New Jersey Transit Internship Team continues preparation for the summer 2026 internship program. The internship opportunities went live on January 2nd, 2026, and this is a 10-week program that will run from June 8th through August 14th, 2026. As of March 30th, we have received 9,832 applications for the 60 internship positions we have. Top colleges applicants coming from Rutgers University, New Jersey Institute of Technology, Montclair State University, New York University, and Stephen Institute of Technology. Students interested in the internship program can email our internship team at njtSummerIntern@NewJerseyTransit.com or head to our njtransit.com/intern for more information. In addition, I'm proud to share that the New Jersey Transit Internship Program has been awarded the 2026 Handshake Early Talent Award for the transportation industry. This marks the third consecutive year we have received this recognition. For our employee engagement team, in January 2026, the employee engagement team, together with NJ Tag Surge, successfully co-sponsored a blood drive at HQ Gateway with the American Red Cross. This is the first one since 2019. They achieved a record score of 62 donations, and later in the month, the Empower Surge hosted a well-attended hybrid around the coffee table chat featuring our very own Jackie Stanford and Binu Thomas. In February 2026, the employee engagement team and board office organized Project Hot Chocolate, where new board member Mun Kazmir personally thanked Hoboken terminal staff for their winter storm forward efforts by serving refreshments. The Hoboken terminal staff were very appreciative and grateful. Lastly, on February 18, employee engagement partnered with our wellness and medical team to host a highly attended blood pressure station at HQ in recognition of Heart Health Awareness Month. So onto the dashboard, highlighting key metrics and updates as shown on the screen. For January, we saw an overall vacancy rate of 4.15%. Of those vacant positions, 89 were in administration, 291 were in bus operations, 80 were in rail operations, 82 were in light rail and contract services. 120 new hires joined us in January, including key hires of 54 bus operators, 8 bus servicemen, 25 assistant conductor trainees. In total, there were 13 promotions, 7 job reclassification, 17 retirements, 63 other separations, 70 suspensions, and 8 discharges. For our month of February, the highlight key metrics and update as shown on the screen. We saw an overall vacancy rate of 3.58%. Of those vacant positions, there were 86 in the administration department, 286 were in bus operations, 67 were in rail operations, and 29 were in light rail and contract services. We welcome 167 new hires who joined us in February, including key hires of 42 bus operators, 25 light rail operators, 15 electricians, 9 police trainees. In total, there were 4 promotions, 6 job reclassifications, 76 retirements, 71 other separations, 83 suspensions, and 6 discharges. This concluded the HR dashboard for the month of January and February. Thank you. I appreciate your time and your attention.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay. The next report is the Equal Opportunity and Affirmative Action Update. Chanel Lee.
Thank you. Good morning. Starting with the highlights page. As of February 28, 2026, 25 complaints are under investigation with EEO. The EEO department continues to reach out to New Jersey Transit employees through site visits, print, and electronic media. The purpose of the site visits is to provide information, answer questions, and educate on the role the EEO office plays in the organization. In 2025, 43 site visits were conducted, fostering engagement with almost 800 employees and managers. These visits included sites to all New Jersey Transit rail lines, surface transit, all major corporate and police facilities. These visits will resume in April. The Office of EEO continues to provide annual online training through the New Jersey Transit's internal learning platform, Training Hub, on the prevention of discrimination and harassment in the workplace. Instructor-led training is also being provided to all newly hired employees and managers at New Jersey Transit facilities. Next slide, please. During the months of January and February 2026, while no matters were open, EEO continued to investigate open complaints, closing 8 investigations. Next slide, please. All 95 cases open prior to 2025 have been closed. As of February 28, 2026, 25 complaint investigations remain open and in the process of being concluded. Next slide, please. Of the 25 complaints being investigated, 22 involve retaliation, 19% race, and 19% sex. However, those 25 complaints represent less than 1% of 13,000 total employees. Thank you. That's the end of my slide.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions or comments? Okay. That concludes the agenda for the Administration Committee. Thanks for your participation. You may disconnect.